Love, love will tear us apart again. Love, love will tear us apart again.
First off, I like to start by saying that I've been practicing what I've been preaching on my channel here, and that is the subject of when to engage your JW loved ones or people that you may know, as far as asking them Socratic questions or sort of engaging some kind of critical thinking thoughts to them or whatever. So, like I said, I wanted to practice what I preach in determining what time period or when to engage in that sort of activity. And I've stopped doing that in the month of April, I think, and in March. You know, the memorial, what do you call it, time period where this is like a religious white holiday for the Jehovah Witnesses to attend their memorial celebration or whatever they want to call it. And I sort of taken a back seat those 2 months just to keep the peace in the house, because that time period they are at their most sensitive and guarded and with the wall up with against anybody else who are not within that faith. They might ask you to go, but that's about it. It's pretty much a holiday for them, or some sort of day for them, if you will. So I've taken a back seat, and I got to admit that I've been liking not engaging in anti-JW stuff with my family, because it keeps the peace and sort of reset me to where I'm sort of not burnt out by this activity, because it does burn you out. You need a couple of, for me at least, a couple of weeks off just being a normal family, or trying to, which is kind of easy for us, really. Just my wife is really into the Jehovah Witness thing. My children are slowly but surely sort of wising up to their antics, and they're becoming more worldly or understanding of both sides than being the us against them mentality. So that's a good thing. And like I said, in our household, it sort of kind of feels like a normal family, and that was really nice. But the memorial season is over, and it's time to get back into dropping those seeds of doubt of the JW theology to my wife, with having my kids listen in on the background, because the actual message is geared towards them and not my wife. Basically, I'm just trying to get her to talk and to give her side of what she thinks about the theology, according to her, in a questioning sort of style. And that's been working really nice for me. I do have one request from my viewers, and I would say a good chunk of you guys out there are ex-JWs, and or JWs too, that are just lurking, and a handful of actual worldly spouses that are not from the Jehovah Witness faith, who are married to Jehovah Witnesses. And my request to them is, please share my channel to any other worldly spouses out there, to see if we could bring some sort of fellowship, or, you know, comparing notes between us, to kind of let them know that they are not alone. I've been blessed to come across a Facebook group, and I got the blessing of the what do you call it, the creator of that group, to share the link to that Facebook group, and it's called Christian Spouses of JWs. It's got about 46 members, and it's just that. It's a Christian-based group, and when I mean Christian, anything other than Jehovah Witnesses. There might be a Catholic or two in there, but the rest of them are sort of, I wouldn't say Reformed, but traditional Christians. And we all compare notes with with each other as far as the behavior and the tactics of our Jehovah Witness spouses, sort of through the lens of a Christian, regular Christian member. And like I said, we all compared notes, back each other up as far as, some encouraging, things to say to each other there, to kind of say, you're not alone. We all go through these little spats with our spouses, and here's a place where you could vent and talk to people who are in your situation, and give each other some advice and what have you. Pretty much a support group for Christian spouses of Jehovah Witnesses, and that's a pretty hard place to be in, even if you're Christian or not. If those of you who are not Christians and just want to compare notes just to compare notes, this is a unique small group within a group. PMOs and PMEs and all those other groups. XJWs is a small group to begin with, but it's growing rapidly. Spouses of Jehovah Witnesses are even smaller. In each congregation, they might be no more than 3. The last congregation that my wife attended, there was, I would say, 3 or 4. And one of them actually converted to a JW, he's not too smart of a guy, so I can't blame him for doing that, maybe, but it is what it is. So for this video, I had this one nagging question that I keep asking myself for the past quite a few years already, and it's that 800-pound gorilla in the room, and it kind of goes like this: of how was I duped into marrying my wife? Or better yet, it's more of a switch and bait. My wife, I can't help but think that my wife pulled a bait and switch for me to marry her. And when we married, it was truly as I thought at the time, and I think she felt the same way, out of love. But it was kind of quick, I think. We've been courting for about a year, but after we got married is when she started sort of going back to the meetings. She was disfellowship when we met. So in another video, I've mentioned that disfellowshipping or fading or dropping out, with all those activities leads to being disfellowship. That sort of opens up an allowance for them to go and date other people that are not of their faith. And so here we are. She goes out, we meet, we get along, and the rest is history. We get married, and here we are, 20 plus years later. And mind you, I do enjoy my marriage. We have a good marriage, in my opinion. This Jehovah Witness thing is 15% of maybe discomfort within us in my particular marriage. But like I said, the original question of, was it a bait and switch? According to her, is my wife now the same person that I fell in love with and married 20-something years ago to today? We all change. But like I said, this question always nagged me, and it seemed odd and sort of the way it is for Jehovah Witnesses that it's been kicked out as far as dating other non-Jehovah Witnesses out there. And I wanted to sort of make a video about this because it's something that's not been talked about. And me being a part of this Facebook group, Christian Spouses of JWs, I put a question out there asking the members, whoever wants to answer, how did you and your spouse meet? Was he disfellowship? Was he or she in? Or any of those combinations? What was the scenario of you guys being married? So I got around 13 replies, and you will see the pattern of what's going on here with all these Christian spouses and JW spouses. And it kind of reminds me, or sort of kind of resembles a thing with the gay community where the man or the woman who is gay, not living their authentic life, would sort of adopt the traditional, heterosexual lifestyle of getting married to a person of the opposite sex, having children, but then after many years of not living their authentic life, or that particular scenario there is just really difficult for them, and they wind up getting a divorce, going into the homosexual lifestyle. In the meantime, there's a wife or a husband with possibly kids left in the bag, left back holding the bag, and a family there is just destroyed. If this person was just left alone to live his or her authentic life of being homosexual, being gay, and in the gay lifestyle to begin with, then all these other people that were told that I'm this sort of person, but at the very end I couldn't really live up to that person, and I went into the lifestyle that I was meant to be, they could have, avoided all that anguish or hardship, and, met somebody that was more in line to what they were thinking. And that's sort of like the resemblance that I see of this bait and switch sort of scenario where the members are not let to live their own lives in a way. But anyway, let me just start off with the list of the members of my group here and who divulged, how they met. So I got 2 members that were ex-JW born in and then got out recently. One was really recently, and the other one I don't know about, but they were ex-JWs and converted to traditional Christianity, and are in this group because now they are Christian spouses of JWs, and their partners are JWs, both females, ex-JW born-ins. So I got another one here. One spouse dabbled into Jehovah Witnesses. Years later, after one child, got back in and made it to the title of being an elder. So, yeah, one person got out and dabbled into it, and then got into it again after one child and has made it up to elder, or is an elder. The third person, one husband was disfellowshipped and then got back in again. He's married to a regular Christian. Then another female member, her husband studied off and on for years, got baptized after marriage. That's the pattern that usually will happen. Another member, her husband was disfellowshipped, then began going to meetings after they got married, and I guess he got back into the fold. Another member, husband, inactive during 4 years of dating, went back after marriage. Another member, the 8th member here, her husband was born in and was in and out of the organization, got baptized after marriage. So the 9th member was, the husband was born in, faded for 11 years, and seems to be a physically out, mentally in, sort of in between person of the Jehovah Witnesses. So the indoctrination is still running in his head. Another member, one PME but not baptized. So the husband is physically in and mentally in, but not baptized. Seems to be a fair weather Jehovah Witness. My wife, I think I consider her somewhere in between fair weather Jehovah Witness and really physically in, mentally in. Another member, her husband is getting to be a physically in, mentally in after the COVID scare. So this person possibly was in or faded or, fair weather JW. But since the COVID scare, he is getting more and more into that theology. The 13th member, one raised JW and not attending, 10 years later after one child starting meetings again. So he's getting back into the fold after 10 years and one child in this particular relationship. There was only one member only one full card carrying JW to a regular Christian, possibly cultural differences. Meaning that this couple, the husband is full-blown regular Christian, traditional Christianity, and the wife was a full-on, Jehovah Witnesses. They met and got married. So that was sort of the exception to the norm, where a full-fledged, in good standing JW married a regular Christian. But this person is from overseas, not from the United States, so I'm thinking maybe there were cultural differences that sort of allowed that to happen. If it was in the United States, more than likely, I would say 85% chance of them not getting married if she was a full-on Jehovah Witnesses. But if that person was disfellowshipped or fading or physically out, mentally in, that would have been the loophole that person would have used to get married to this non-JW person. So that was really remarkable to sort of compare notes like that, and what was it, like 13 members, at least 12 or 11 out of the whole sort of group were married to sort of not good standing Jehovah Witnesses, whether disfellowship or fading or questioning or something, different. Then after they got married, they went back into it and became ultra uber JWs again, and causing all sorts of problems within the household, and including mine. So this is telling as to, how worldly people of the Jehovah Witness faith fall into this particular, I hate to call it a trap, but deceived by the society, by their meddling in people's personal lives like this. So a Jehovah Witness really wants to marry, this person who is not a Jehovah Witness, and they cannot go back to the society because they're not married, and that's the only way that they could get back in and still be with this other person. So they'll play this game of not being a JW until they do get married, get back in, and then that person in turn will try to convert the non-JW spouse. And that's the pattern I saw within my marriage, where as soon as she got in, the congregants, or I'm assuming the elders and above, were trying to persuade her to try to get me to read and go to meetings and that whole indoctrination process. And I can say that is the case with my sort of relationship with my wife at the time. And yeah, that's it, really. I hate to think that way, but the pattern is there. I mean, you just can't deny it. But like I said, it's only 15% of our relationship or our marriage that evolves around the JWs. The other 85% is just being a regular family, despite the Jehovah Witnesses. So, but it creeps into our marriage quite often. So that's where it's at. All right, so that was just a little something there that I thought was interesting. And like I said, please share this video with non-JWs, worldly spouses out there, so they would know there's a place here for them. And also on the description below, I will leave the link to that Facebook group for anyone who wants to join and have a place to go to see, if we can help them out. We have a small group, but we all have that in common, where we're married to Jehovah Witnesses and we're not of that faith, and we're just trying to process what's going on with our relationship in that dynamic, because it definitely puts a strain on all fronts. So to know that you're not alone out there and there is a support group networking to sort of back each other up is a good place to start. And this group really, it was, I wouldn't say a lifesaver for me. It wasn't that, but it was a good thing to happen. And a lot of the other members there, they sort of say the same thing as well. They're not in this alone. Okay.